Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something we often overlook: the subtle, powerful, and undeniable signs that you are a good-looking woman, even if you don't believe it yourself. Beauty has always been framed as something external, something you can measure by features, by dress size, or by the reflection staring back at you in the mirror. But the truth is, beauty is far more profound than what you see on the surface. It's not just about appearances. It's about the way you move through the world, the way people feel in your presence, and the way you show up for yourself and others. One sign you are a good-looking woman, even if you don't think so, is the way confidence shapes your presence. You may not notice it, but the way you walk into a room with your head held high, the way you speak with intention, or even the way you carry yourself in silence, it draws people in. Confidence is magnetic. Even when you doubt yourself, others see the grace and strength in your composure, and that is profoundly attractive. Another sign is hidden in the reactions of others. You may not see yourself as beautiful, but notice how people pause when you speak, how their eyes linger a second longer, or how strangers smile back when you smile at them. These subtle interactions reveal something you might overlook. The world reflects back what you often fail to acknowledge in yourself: that you are striking, noticeable, and admired. Beauty also lives in authenticity. When you are unafraid to laugh loudly, speak your truth, or share your story without editing yourself to fit someone else's expectations, you radiate a kind of beauty that cannot be imitated. Authenticity is rare, and people are drawn to it like light in a dark room. The courage to be fully yourself is one of the clearest signs of true attractiveness. A good-looking woman doesn't just capture attention. She elevates the energy of the room. Maybe you've been told you're easy to be around, or people confide in you, or they feel more at ease when you're present. This is no accident. The warmth you carry and the energy you bring become part of your beauty, making people want to be near you. Finally, beauty isn't perfection. It's vulnerability turned into courage. Maybe you see your scars, wrinkles, or imperfections as flaws, but others see them as proof of your resilience, your humanity, and your story. The way you embrace what you once thought made you less is the very thing that makes you beautiful in the eyes of others. So, if you've ever doubted yourself, let me remind you: being a good-looking woman isn't about fitting into some rigid standard set by society. It's about confidence, authenticity, presence, energy, and the courage to embrace yourself fully. You may not always feel it, but the truth is this: the world sees your beauty every day, and it's time you began to see it too. When we talk about beauty, so many of us immediately think of what can be measured by the eyes: symmetry, complexion, body shape, or the features society has decided are the markers of attractiveness. Yet, what truly defines a good-looking woman is not always what can be seen on the surface, but what can be felt in her presence. Confidence is the invisible crown every woman wears, whether she realizes it or not, and it is this crown that often makes people perceive her as beautiful long before they notice the details of her physical appearance. To expand on this truth, we must first recognize that confidence is not arrogance, nor is it loudness or dominance. It is a steady assurance in who you are and how you move through the world, and it radiates outward in ways that transform how others see you. Think about the last time you encountered someone who carried themselves with undeniable presence. They may not have been the most conventionally attractive person by societal standards, yet something about them made heads turn. It could have been the way they entered the room without shrinking themselves, or how they spoke with clarity and conviction, or even the calm way they listened without needing to prove themselves. This is the quiet power of confidence. It tells the world, I know my worth, I know who I am, and I don't need validation to prove it. That energy is captivating, and it is one of the strongest indicators that a woman is beautiful, even when she does not see it herself. The fascinating thing about confidence is that it's not rooted in external approval. A woman who knows her value does not need to dress to impress others or wear beauty like a mask. Instead, she adorns herself with authenticity. She may wear a simple outfit, carry no makeup, or style herself plainly, yet people will still find her magnetic because her confidence fills the space around her. This is why two women can walk into the same room, one fitting every conventional beauty standard but hiding behind insecurity, and the other with unconventional features but an undeniable glow of self-assurance. More often than not, the woman with confidence is remembered and admired because beauty is not only seen, it is felt. Confidence also changes how a woman carries her body. Posture, eye contact, and movement are subtle yet powerful signals. A woman who holds her head high, meets eyes with warmth and strength, and moves with certainty commands attention without demanding it. People are naturally drawn to her because she radiates a message of self-respect, and when you respect yourself, others instinctively respect you too. On the other hand, a lack of confidence can cause even the most physically striking woman to appear smaller, less noticeable, or hesitant. This shows that confidence doesn't just enhance beauty, it defines it. Another layer of presence is the energy you bring to interactions. A confident woman listens attentively, speaks when she has something to say, and does not fear silence. She doesn't rush to fill space with unnecessary words, nor does she apologize for existing. This quiet self-possession signals strength and calmness. People may not consciously label this as beauty, but they feel it deeply. They describe her as glowing, magnetic, or charming, often without being able to explain why. That unexplainable pull is presence, and presence is inseparable from confidence. It's also important to understand that confidence does not mean being flawless. In fact, some of the most confident women carry visible scars, imperfections, or past mistakes. What makes them beautiful is not the absence of flaws but the acceptance of them. A woman who embraces her laugh lines as proof of joy, who wears her scars as evidence of survival, or who speaks of her failures as stepping stones rather than shameful secrets, radiates a beauty deeper than surface-level appearances. Her presence tells a story of resilience, and resilience is one of the most attractive qualities anyone can have. Interestingly, confidence is contagious. When a good-looking woman enters a space with presence, others around her feel more secure, more open, and more willing to show up authentically themselves. This ripple effect is one of the clearest signs of her beauty. It's not about commanding attention for ego's sake, but about shifting the atmosphere simply by being secure in who she is. People remember how you made them feel, and a confident woman consistently leaves others feeling inspired, safe, or energized. That emotional impact is far more beautiful than any physical trait. Even if a woman doesn't believe she is beautiful, her confidence can betray her self-doubt. Others may look at her and see beauty she cannot recognize, because they experience her through her presence, not her insecurities. We all know someone who insists they are plain or average, yet everyone else describes them as stunning or striking. This disconnect often exists because we judge ourselves too harshly, while others experience the totality of our presence, which is far more generous than our reflection in the mirror. Confidence also transforms relationships. In friendships, romance, or professional settings, a confident woman stands out because she is not driven by desperation or fear of rejection. Instead, she interacts from a place of abundance. She knows she has value, and she does not need to prove it by clinging, overcompensating, or performing. This creates an aura of independence and self-assurance that others find deeply attractive. Whether consciously or unconsciously, people are drawn to women who stand strong in their own worth, because that strength signals stability, courage, and beauty. Let us not confuse confidence with perfectionism or constant positivity. True confidence allows space for vulnerability. A truly good-looking woman is not the one who hides her struggles, but the one who acknowledges them openly while still standing tall. This vulnerability does not weaken her presence. It enhances it. It tells others that she is real, approachable, and human, which makes her even more magnetic. A woman who can say, "I don't have it all together, but I am still worthy and beautiful," is one who radiates authenticity, and authenticity is irresistible. In everyday life, this confidence might show up in small, almost invisible ways: the way a woman laughs without covering her mouth, the way she raises her hand to speak in a crowded room, the way she makes decisions without second-guessing herself endlessly, or the way she simply walks down the street with purpose. These actions may feel ordinary to her, but to those around her, they paint a picture of beauty that transcends physical traits. Her presence becomes a statement: "I belong here." Ultimately, confidence and presence reveal a truth many women forget. Beauty is not something you chase, it is something you embody. You don't have to convince others of it, you simply have to live it. When you know who you are, when you walk through the world with quiet certainty and unapologetic authenticity, you become radiant in ways that no mirror can measure. The world sees it even if you don't. And this is the first and perhaps most powerful sign that you are a good-looking woman. One of the clearest yet most overlooked signs that a woman is good-looking is hidden in how others respond to her. We often underestimate the power of external reflections because we live so much inside our own minds, caught up in our insecurities and comparisons. Yet, beauty is not always what we personally recognize in the mirror. It is how the world experiences us. The small, often subtle ways people look at you, talk to you, and respond to your presence reveal more about your attractiveness than you might ever realize. Consider how often you catch someone glancing at you when you walk into a room. Maybe you dismiss it, thinking it was by accident. But those glances are signals. Human beings are naturally drawn to what they find appealing, and their attention gravitates toward beauty instinctively. If you frequently notice people's eyes shifting toward you when you enter a space, or if you sense conversations pause for a moment as you pass, it's not random. It's recognition. They see something in you that perhaps you've learned to ignore in yourself. Even more telling are the unconscious reactions. People's body language reveals admiration far more honestly than words ever could. A slight lean toward you during conversation, a smile that lasts a beat longer, or the way someone unconsciously mirrors your gestures. All of these are subtle cues that they find you attractive. A good-looking woman may not realize it because she is focused on her own perceived flaws, yet others cannot help but respond to the energy and presence she brings. Their actions whisper the truth: you are beautiful, even if you don't believe it. Another powerful indicator lies in kindness. Strangers may treat you with a little more warmth than usual, offering help or initiating small acts of generosity. It could be as simple as someone holding the door longer, offering a seat, or smiling when your eyes meet theirs. While kindness can certainly come from pure humanity, repeated patterns of extra attentiveness often reflect how people perceive your beauty. There is something about you that softens them, inspires them, or encourages them to extend themselves a little more than they otherwise might. That is a reflection of your attractiveness. Not just your appearance, but also the aura you radiate. Compliments, too, are a mirror of beauty. Many women dismiss compliments quickly, brushing them off with self-deprecating remarks or assuming the person didn't mean it. Yet, the fact that people feel compelled to say something about your smile, your eyes, your presence, or even your style speaks volumes. Not everyone receives compliments freely. The reason some women hear them more often is not luck, but because others genuinely notice their beauty and feel moved to express it. If you consistently receive words of admiration, it is not coincidence. It is a sign you are far more good looking than you think. It's also important to note that beauty isn't always complimented directly, especially in cultures where modesty or restraint is valued. Instead, it shows up in the way people talk about you when you're not around. Perhaps friends tell you that someone described you as the girl with the beautiful smile, or the one who lights up a room. You might think these descriptions are exaggerations, but they're not. They are how others perceive you. When your beauty is memorable enough that people identify you by it, that is a profound confirmation of how good looking you truly are. Attraction can also be observed in the way people listen to you. A good-looking woman often notices that when she speaks, people give her their attention more fully. They nod, they hold eye contact, and they seem engaged. While listening is a sign of respect, it is also a reflection of how people are drawn to your presence. When others value your words not only for their content, but because they enjoy the experience of being around you, that's beauty in motion. You may also find that others make an effort to impress you, even in small ways. Maybe someone fixes their posture when you approach, adjusts their appearance, or chooses their words more carefully in conversation. These micro behaviors are often subconscious. People naturally want to present the best version of themselves in the presence of someone they find attractive. If you notice people doing just a little more around you, whether dressing up, smiling brighter, or trying harder to make you laugh, it's not random. It's because your beauty inspires them to rise to the occasion. It's worth recognizing, too, how children and animals respond to you. Unlike adults, they don't filter their reactions or disguise their feelings. A child who gravitates toward you, staring curiously or smiling warmly, is responding to the gentleness and attractiveness of your energy. A pet that feels immediately comfortable around you, sitting close or wagging its tail, senses something inviting about you. These reactions are raw, unfiltered reflections of how others perceive the warmth and beauty that you carry without effort. Now, many women are quick to downplay these experiences. They tell themselves, they were just being polite, or I'm imagining things. But dismissing repeated patterns of admiration is one of the biggest ways women underestimate themselves. The truth is, people don't consistently smile, lean in, or compliment someone unless there is genuine attraction or admiration at play. These patterns are too universal and too consistent to be written off as chance. If you start paying closer attention, you'll notice that the world has been reflecting your beauty back to you all along. You just haven't allowed yourself to believe it. What makes this point so powerful is that it highlights how beauty is relational. You don't exist in isolation, and your attractiveness is not solely determined by how you feel about yourself. It is also measured by how others experience you. A woman who doubts her beauty often underestimates the fact that her presence can brighten someone's day, turn heads, or inspire kindness. Even if you cannot see yourself as beautiful in the mirror, you can trust the consistency of how others respond to you as evidence that you are, indeed, a good-looking woman. The reactions of others can also reveal beauty that goes beyond the surface. For example, someone might comment that they feel calm or joyful in your presence, or that you make them feel lighter after a conversation. These reflections point to an inner beauty that is just as compelling as outer features. They show that your attractiveness is multi-dimensional. It's not just about how you look, but about how you make others feel. When people are drawn to you emotionally as well as visually, it means your beauty resonates on a deeper level. Finally, the most undeniable proof of being good looking lies in the fact that you don't even have to try to be noticed. You may think you blend into the background, but others see you differently. the way strangers glance back at you, the way people remember you after a brief encounter, or the way friends describe you with admiration are signs that your beauty is visible to the world. You might be blind to it because you're used to living with your reflection, but others are experiencing you for the first time, and to them, you are striking. So, if you ever wonder whether you are a good-looking woman, don't only rely on what you think of yourself. Pay attention to the countless small ways people respond to you every day. Notice their smiles, their gestures, their pauses, and their compliments. Let these reflections remind you of what you cannot always see for yourself. Because in the end, beauty is not just about self-perception. It is also about the undeniable truth that others already see and feel in you. Their reactions are the mirror you didn't know you had, and they reveal that you are far more beautiful than you realize. There is a kind of beauty that no amount of makeup, styling, or physical perfection can replicate, and that beauty is authenticity. To be authentic is to be unapologetically yourself, to step into the world without hiding, masking, or pretending to be someone you are not. This quality is magnetic because it is rare, and people instinctively recognize it when they see it. While so many individuals strive to fit into molds, copy trends, or chase standards set by others, a woman who chooses to simply be herself radiates an energy that cannot be imitated. This authenticity becomes one of the clearest signs of true attractiveness, even if she doesn't realize it. When you think about beauty that endures, the kind that leaves a lasting impression, it's not the perfectly applied lipstick or the flawless outfit that people remember. Those things fade, change, and evolve with time. What people hold on to is the feeling of being in the presence of someone real. A woman who is authentic carries herself in a way that tells others she is not performing for approval. She laughs when she feels joy, speaks up when she has something to say, and doesn't twist herself to fit into someone else's expectations. This kind of honesty with oneself and with the world is undeniably attractive because it reflects courage. It is easy to blend in, but it takes bravery to stand out by being true. Authenticity is beautiful because it creates trust. People feel safe around someone who is genuine. They don't have to question her intentions or wonder if she's pretending. That sense of safety is deeply appealing. Think of how many times you felt drawn to someone, not because of how they looked, but because of how real they were with you. They didn't sugarcoat their truth, nor did they try to impress you with a polished facade. Instead, they showed up exactly as they were, flaws and all. That openness becomes a form of beauty because it allows others to relax, to be themselves in return. In a world full of masks, authenticity shines like a light. A good-looking woman doesn't have to chase trends to validate her beauty. She may choose fashion, makeup, or style as forms of expression, but she does not rely on them to define her worth. Her beauty comes from within, from the ease she has with herself. She may wear simple clothes or the latest designer piece. It doesn't matter, because the source of her attractiveness is not external decoration, but the alignment between who she is inside and how she presents herself outwardly. People sense this alignment, and it draws them in. That is the power of authenticity. One of the most striking aspects of authenticity is that it embraces imperfection. A woman who tries to appear flawless at all times often comes across as unapproachable, because people instinctively know that perfection isn't real. On the other hand, a woman who embraces her quirks, who admits when she's wrong, who isn't afraid to laugh at herself, radiates relatability. That relatability makes her beautiful. People are not attracted to robots. They are attracted to humans who live fully in their humanity. Authenticity gives permission to be imperfect, and that permission is a form of grace. Authenticity also carries a kind of confidence that can't be faked. When a woman is comfortable in her own skin, others sense it. She doesn't need to explain herself or prove her worth. She doesn't seek constant reassurance or bend to please everyone. Instead, she lives in alignment with her values, her truth, and her unique personality. This independence from external validation is incredibly attractive. It signals strength, and strength wrapped in humility is one of the most beautiful combinations a person can have. Think of how authenticity changes the energy of a room. When a woman walks in and is unapologetically herself, she doesn't compete for attention. Yet she often becomes the center of it. People turn toward her not because she is the loudest or the most polished, but because she radiates an ease that others crave. Her presence reminds them of what is possible. To live honestly without hiding. This magnetic pull is not about glamour, it is about truth. And truth, when embodied fully, is radiant. Authenticity also deepens connections. People often find themselves opening up to a woman who is genuine, because they feel no need to perform in her presence. They mirror her honesty with honesty of their own. This deepens bonds, makes friendships stronger, and creates relationships built on real substance rather than surface attraction. When someone looks at you and feels they can trust you with their truth, that trust is not only emotional, but also deeply tied to beauty. It's beauty that transcends the surface and touches the soul. Many women underestimate the beauty of authenticity because they are taught to believe that attractiveness lies in comparison. They measure themselves against models, actresses, or influencers, forgetting that what people find truly beautiful is not replication but originality. A woman who knows she doesn't need to copy anyone else, who instead embraces her unique quirk, style, voice, and story, stands out effortlessly. The world does not need another copy. It needs individuals who bring their authentic selves into every space. That kind of originality is irresistible. It's also worth recognizing that authenticity doesn't mean you have to be raw and unfiltered at all times. It doesn't mean sharing every detail of your life or never adapting to context. Instead, it means showing up with integrity. It means aligning your words with your values, letting your actions reflect your truth, and not betraying yourself for the sake of approval. That kind of consistency is beautiful because it makes people trust and admire you. A good-looking woman isn't just attractive for her face. She is attractive for the way her inner and outer selves match in harmony. Authenticity frees a woman from constant comparison, while others exhaust themselves chasing unrealistic beauty standards. An authentic woman glows with an ease that others envy. She doesn't spend her energy trying to win everyone's approval, and that liberation gives her an aura of peace. Peace, when combined with authenticity, is stunning. People notice it, even if they can't put it into words. They describe her as someone who has something about her, a phrase that points directly to the authenticity she carries. The courage to be authentic also inspires others. A good-looking woman is not just admired for her features, but for the way she encourages others to show up as themselves. When people witness her honesty, her refusal to pretend, they feel braver about embracing their own truth. This ripple effect makes her beauty even more powerful because it doesn't just impact how she is perceived. It transforms the way others live their lives. To inspire authenticity in others is to leave behind a beauty that echoes long after you've left the room. Finally, authenticity ensures that your beauty never fades with age. Physical traits change, styles evolve, and time leaves its mark, but authenticity remains timeless. A woman who has lived her life authentically grows more beautiful with every passing year because her presence is built on truth, not trends. People admire her wisdom, her confidence, her grace, and her refusal to be anyone but herself. That kind of beauty does not wither, it deepens. So if you ever doubt your attractiveness, look beyond the surface and ask yourself, am I living as my true self? Because the answer to that question carries more weight than any reflection in the mirror. Authenticity is the rarest form of beauty, and when you embrace it fully, you become a woman whose presence is unforgettable. The world notices even when you don't, and that is one of the clearest signs that you are, in fact, a good-looking woman. When we think of a good-looking woman, we often think in terms of appearances, the color of her eyes, the shape of her face, or the way she dresses. Yet beauty goes far deeper than what is seen on the surface. One of the most powerful signs that a woman is good looking is found in the energy she brings with her wherever she goes. It's not just her features that people remember, it's how they feel in her presence. A woman's energy, her aura, her atmosphere, her unspoken presence can shift the dynamics of a room. And often, this is what leaves the most lasting impression. The energy of a good-looking woman is not necessarily loud, flamboyant, or commanding in a traditional sense. It doesn't have to come from dominating conversations or drawing constant attention. In fact, sometimes her energy is soft, calm, and nurturing. Other times it is vibrant, joyful, and uplifting. What matters most is that it is authentic to who she is, and it has an impact on the people around her. People might not even know why they feel lighter, happier, or calmer when she walks in, but they do. This invisible influence is one of the clearest markers of her attractiveness. Think about the last time you met someone whose presence changed the atmosphere of the room. Perhaps their laughter made everyone else relax, or their calmness soothed an otherwise tense environment. That's not something makeup or clothes can achieve. It comes from within. A woman's energy, the way she carries herself, is often what makes her striking. When she steps into a room with a smile, with open body language, or with genuine warmth, she becomes magnetic. People are drawn to her not simply because of how she looks, but because of how she makes them feel. Energy is felt before words are spoken. Long before someone notices the details of your outfit or the lines of your face, they sense your energy. If you are comfortable with yourself, that comfort radiates outward and makes others comfortable too. If you are joyful, that joy becomes contagious. If you are grounded, people feel steadier in your presence. This silent communication is far more powerful than we realize. A good-looking woman doesn't have to announce herself. Her energy announces her long before she speaks. Interestingly, energy can often outweigh physical appearance in attractiveness. Someone who fits every societal standard of beauty can quickly lose their allure if their energy is cold, arrogant, or draining. Conversely, a woman who may not meet those rigid standards can captivate an entire room if her energy is warm, confident, and vibrant. People may leave saying, "There's just something about her," unable to explain what it is, but knowing they felt it deeply. That something is energy, and it is inseparable from true beauty. A woman's energy is shaped by many things: her confidence, her kindness, her authenticity, her resilience. When she walks into a room, these qualities don't remain hidden, they radiate outward. If she is at peace with herself, people feel that peace. If she has a spark of passion in her, people sense the excitement. If she carries strength, others draw courage from her presence. This is why people often admire women not just for their features, but for their spirit. The spirit a woman carries is visible even in silence, and it is one of the most beautiful things about her. This kind of energy also explains why people feel compelled to be near certain women. A good-looking woman might find that others naturally gravitate toward her. They choose to sit near her, talk with her, or include her in conversations. It's not always because of her appearance alone, but because her presence enhances their experience. She elevates the mood of the room. She makes people feel valued, seen, or inspired simply by being there. This gravitational pull is a sign of her beauty, one she may not recognize because she's too accustomed to being herself. It's also important to note that a woman's energy is not about perfection. She doesn't need to be endlessly cheerful or overly positive to be attractive. In fact, part of what makes her beautiful is her emotional honesty. Even when she is quiet, serious, or reflective, her presence can still be powerful. The energy she brings doesn't have to be about entertaining others. It's about being fully present in herself. That authenticity is what people find irresistible. They trust her energy because it is real. A woman's energy lingers too. Long after she leaves the room, people remember how she made them feel. They may not recall every word she said, but they recall the comfort, joy, or inspiration she gave them. That lasting impression is a deeper form of beauty than anything captured in a photograph. Beauty that touches the heart stays alive in memory, and it often has more impact than beauty that only pleases the eyes. This is why people often describe a truly good-looking woman in terms beyond physicality. They say things like, "She lights up the room," "She has a glow about her," or "She just has this presence." These descriptions point directly to energy. People struggle to put it into words because energy is felt, not seen, yet it is one of the most undeniable signs of beauty. Energy also builds influence. A woman who carries herself with presence can inspire, motivate, and encourage others without even realizing it. Perhaps her calm demeanor helps others stay grounded in stressful moments, or her enthusiasm motivates a group to keep going. This influence is not forced. It flows naturally from who she is, and it makes her unforgettable. People want to be around her, not only for what she looks like, but for the way she elevates them. The energy a woman carries is also tied to self-respect. When she values herself, when she sets boundaries and holds her head high, her energy tells others to respect her as well. This creates a beauty that commands admiration without demanding it. People recognize when someone knows her worth, and they respond with reverence. That quiet dignity is magnetic and deeply attractive. Even in solitude, a woman's energy speaks. A good-looking woman might be sitting quietly in a cafe, reading a book or sipping coffee, yet people still notice her. They sense something about the way she or cue. Another powerful sign that you are a good-looking woman, even if you don't always recognize it, is in the way others choose to compliment you. True beauty is rarely reduced to comments like, "You look nice today," or "That dress suits you." While such remarks are pleasant, they are surface-level observations. What truly sets a good-looking woman apart is when the compliments she receives extend far beyond her physical appearance. When people admire your presence, your character, your impact, or even the unspoken qualities they sense in you, that is a profound signal that your beauty is not only visible but deeply felt. The reality is that people don't always have the words to express what they're experiencing when they are in the presence of beauty that goes deeper than skin. They may say things like, "I feel better when I'm around you," or "You have such a calming presence," or "You always know how to make people smile." These kinds of compliments go beyond traditional ideas of attractiveness, pointing instead to the invisible qualities that radiate from within. They show that your beauty is woven into your character, your kindness, your energy, and the way you treat others. It's not only about being seen, it's about being felt. A good-looking woman often finds that people compliment her in ways that seem unrelated to appearance. But in truth, those compliments are intimately connected to her attractiveness. For example, when someone tells you that your laugh is contagious, they're not just talking about a sound. They're acknowledging the light you bring into a space, the way your joy ripples outward and transforms the mood. When someone says you have such a good heart, they're recognizing the depth of your compassion, and compassion itself is beautiful. When someone notes your confidence or resilience, they're not only admiring your strength, they're pointing to the qualities that make you stand out, that make your presence unforgettable. What's fascinating is that these compliments often arrive without you seeking them. You might simply be living your life, offering a kind word, showing patience, or standing firm in your convictions, and someone notices. That is the quiet mark of beauty. It doesn't need to be demanded. It is naturally recognized. A woman who is truly good looking doesn't have to ask for validation because people feel compelled to give it. Not in the form of shallow admiration, but in words that reflect the impact she makes. Think for a moment about the compliments you've received that stayed with you the longest. Chances are, they weren't about your hairstyle or your outfit. They were about how you made someone feel or the way you inspired them. Maybe a friend once told you, "I always feel safe talking to you." Or a colleague might have said, "You make the workplace lighter." These aren't just pleasantries. They are acknowledgments of your inner beauty manifesting outwardly. And while you may not always connect these comments to your physical attractiveness, they are a reflection of it, because true beauty is inseparable from the way you affect others. Interestingly, people often reserve their most genuine compliments for women they perceive as truly beautiful. Why? Because beauty that resonates within makes an impression that goes beyond admiration. It inspires gratitude. Someone might say, "You're always so inspiring," or "You make everyone feel included," not because they are obligated, but because your presence genuinely enriches their lives. Those kinds of compliments are given with sincerity, and they are one of the clearest signs of good looks that extend far beyond the surface. At times, you may dismiss these compliments, thinking they are just about personality or kindness rather than beauty. But it's important to understand that beauty is not limited to symmetrical features or fashionable clothing. Beauty is an experience others have of you. If your kindness, humor, or strength causes others to stop and notice you, if it moves them to voice admiration, then that is beauty at work. Your physical appearance may catch the eye, but your inner qualities ensure that the admiration doesn't fade. It deepens. There is also a pattern in how people choose to compliment women they see as deeply attractive. They often struggle to put it into words. They might say, "You just have this glow," or "There's something about you." These vague yet heartfelt expressions signal that your beauty is being felt on a level that transcends the physical. People can't always explain why they're drawn to you, but their attempts to articulate it are themselves a sign that you carry a kind of beauty that moves beyond what can be defined. Another powerful sign is when compliments about you persist in your absence. People may speak highly of you when you're not around, telling others about your generosity, your courage, or the way you brighten their day. This lasting impression is not accidental. It's evidence of your beauty leaving a mark. A woman who is only superficially attractive might be noticed briefly and forgotten, but a good-looking woman whose beauty radiates from her whole being is remembered. Her compliments don't fade, because they weren't about temporary things. They were about the essence of who she is. Even in relationships, compliments beyond looks reveal something significant. When a partner or friend admires not just how you look, but how you handle challenges, how you treat others, or how you carry yourself, it shows that your beauty has layers. That depth of beauty is what sustains bonds and creates admiration that lasts long after first impressions. It means you are good, looking in a way that is timeless, in a way that does not fade when appearances change. Ultimately, the way others compliment you beyond looks is one of the strongest signs that you are a good-looking woman. Even if you don't believe it, beauty that is only about physical appearance is fleeting, but beauty that inspires genuine admiration is enduring. When people compliment your presence, your spirit, or your impact, they are acknowledging a kind of attractiveness that goes beyond what mirrors can reflect. These words are proof that your beauty is not just seen, it is experienced, felt, and remembered. And that, more than anything else, is what makes you truly good looking.